Hey everyone, welcome to Weekend Wind Down with Nancy, business coach Nancy G is what I'm being called. This is the first time I'm actually doing it on my business page, so I'm hoping that you guys can find me, and I'm hoping that Caden is going to share in my group. I think we should maybe skip sharing on my personal page, or maybe just this once we should. So that people can find where we are. But if you're looking for me, it's at Facebook, Nancy Ganz. So we're switching to our business. Caden's not on the broadcast yet, but I'm going to bring him on momentarily because we want to talk about what is a struggle for so many people, which is being seen on video. Like, how do you get over the fear of that? But before we get started, welcome to Weekend Wind Down. And again, I'm Nancy G, business coach to creative entrepreneurs, interior designers, online coaches, and other online entrepreneurs. And today, see now on Be Live, you can actually see what I'm drinking, not in a mirror form. So I am drinking Apothic Red, and it's actually really good. So cheers to everyone. I'm new with this Be Live. I used to use it, and now I'm using it again. So hopefully I'm going to be able to use it well because it's got some really cool features. To tell you a little bit about my week, it was a very exciting week. I was on a radio show. I put that link kind of all over the place, a 1-hour live radio show. And in my group, Actionable Entrepreneurs, I actually have this interesting thing I want to do. Watch this. In my group, Actionable Entrepreneurs, and that's how you can get to my private Facebook group. That's how you get there, actionableentrepreneurs.com. I shared the story of how right before I was going live on this live radio show that is syndicated internationally, the street cleaners came, and they're going up and down the street, and my dog is going nuts. And I was like, oh no. So I took my cell phone, because it was call-in show, and I ran down in the basement. So if you listen to that broadcast, it sounds a little echoey, but I made it through, and I think it was quite good. It was an easy conversation, which I always love when conversation is easy. So with this Be Live format, I can bring on other people. I just have to send you a link via Messenger. So I sent that link to Caden. So I'm going to bring him up to the broadcast now so we can talk about how hard it is sometimes just to be seen on camera. And then if we have time, we're going to talk a little bit about how hard it is to write to your list and write what people care about. So let me bring Caden up now. Hey.
Hey, what's up?
Nothing. I'm going to show, these are cool features on Be Live, so I want to make sure we show them. And if we do it this way, my full name actually shows.
Oh, wow. Yeah, I'm looking to the side because I'm looking at it on Facebook as well.
Yeah, it's kind of cool. You can either go, watch this, where you're big and I'm small. We're side-by-side heads. Do this. Or we can go, and my name doesn't show all the way that way, or we can do this way, or we can go where I'm big and you're small. And what's cool about this too is if people make comments, we can actually show their comments on the screen also. So I'm practicing. I hope I don't make any mistakes. If any of you saw our the one Caden and I did on, was it Tuesday?
Wednesday, business banter with Caden and Nancy.
So it was Tuesday when we did that hysterically funny testing.
Yeah, it got it's almost up to 500 views.
Oh my God, I can't believe that. So I'm wondering if people are not finding my Weekend Wind Down here because I don't see anybody, maybe one person watching, and it's probably just you or I. Did you share it on my personal page?
Yes.
I wonder if we should just tell them to come on over to my business page. Because if they've liked my business page, they do get notification, is what we had discovered, correct?
Yeah, I see Darcy just joined us. Oh,
How are you
Darcy's saying
seeing?
his, I have Facebook open, Mother.
Oh, thank you, Darcy, for commenting. We are such disasters, but we're getting better, Darcy. So listen to what I'm hearing, the buzz, which I have not confirmed is true yet. May not be true, but I have a couple of people investigating. I heard that Facebook might be cracking down if you're doing business stuff on your personal page. So I decided to, since this is a little bit of a nicer broadcast, I can also bring people in this way, but I just have to send you a link. So, oh, mother. So maybe I'll get you on, Darcy, if you're available after Kate and I talk. But we wanted to talk today about two subjects, and watch how cool this is, Darcy. Let's see if I can get this working. Did I do it right? Hold on. Look at that. Did I spell it wrong? Yep, hiding it. This is so typical me. Hold on. That
Okay,
is
let's just start talking about the subject. Let's stop playing with features.
no, I like the features. They're fun. Okay, hold on.
Okay,
Okay.
so I actually wanted to talk about, just going to interrupt you. I wanted to talk about this topic because it's one of my biggest business struggles. And my biggest business struggle is that in order to be successful, you have to be seen. And being seen is scary. Like getting up on Facebook Live like Nancy does every week. I don't know how she does it. I'm just starting to do it, but I know that a lot of other people in business struggle with this as well. Like the whole putting yourself out there as an entrepreneur, it's terrifying. And we're going to talk about maybe some tricks and ways to get over it, and stories in our lives about how we've started to get over that. So why don't you say a few words?
Well, my few words are going to be, why don't you tell people in the beginning how I was?
It's true.
I was a
Yeah.
disaster. I mean, I really was like, I can't do this. I can't do this. I don't know whether, well, no, I do know. We know. We know partly why, right? That I struggled with this. I had someone in my life who would subtly make fun of me for not maybe looking perfect on screen, right? So I remember one day, oh, I'm glad I helped you with that, Darcy. I remember, Caden, you were still living at home then, and you said, like, Mom, like, what is the deal? And I said, I don't know. I just get so nervous. I look fat and my hair is frizzy and I get stiff and I don't talk freely. And I honestly don't know how to get over it. And then one day I got a text from somebody that said, was with a picture of me in a really bad, ugly face position on a TV spot I had been on years ago. And kind of like, you should really smile more on TV was the comment. And it was a joke. It was a joke. But to me, it was like light bulb moment. That is part of the reason why I was always so nervous about being seen, because that's worked on my self-esteem, right? And it was one of my own insecurities to start out with. And then you get somebody who kind of like reinforces it and you're like, oh my God, like people are going to make fun of me. And
Yeah, and let's just talk about the fact, like, you were doing something great. You were on TV, being seen. That's an accomplishment. And that yet there's somebody, and a lot of people have a somebody in their lives who will take what's something great and something you're proud of and kind of make you feel a little bad about it.
yeah, and you know what? I always say this, right? I have 3 kids. I'm the same parent. I could say one thing, and all 3 of you are going to take it a different way.
That's true.
Yeah, I mean, so it's like a person could say the same thing to a different person who doesn't have those insecurities, and it'll be just like, oh, that was funny. But that like just worked right to the core of my insecurities. Like, what if I get caught frozen, right, on Facebook? How many times have we gotten frozen with faces like, it's like you always want to be frozen with a happy face. But it took me, one, realizing where my insecurity came from, which was within me, right? I look at other people, I say they're skinny, or they're taller, they're pretty, or they're younger, you know, my eyes, right? We beat ourselves up so much. And then when I realized that that was my insecurity, I just worked on it. I worked on just doing it over and over again. And I mean, what happens? You get positive feedback and you go, oh, maybe it wasn't so bad. And people relate to you when you look like a normal person, right? If I looked like a 53-year-old Barbie doll, people might not relate to me as much. So I look like I look, and I'm very relatable, is the way I seem to get over it in my head. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that definitely makes sense. And what do you think, like, I mean, I remember, like, before your first weekend wind down, what was it, like 27 weeks ago? You were a
I'm even
wreck.
more. I'm like 35 or 40
35
weeks
in.
in. Yeah, I'm
But how are you able to, like, get over it, in a sense?
okay. It's the same thing that you and I talked about yesterday for a different situation. When you really just say, I don't really care what the outcome is. It was like the first time I did a webinar. Oh my God, I felt like someone punched me in the stomach. I felt like I was going to cry. I thought it was stiff. It was terrible. And yes, wine helps too. And believe it or not, I got to tell you this, Darcy. Um, I'm going to show that comment because I'm still playing. Wine helps. One of my coaches actually told that to me. They said, have a glass of wine before you do your videos. So when I first started coaching, I did a series on time management. And I stood in front of a picture, and I did my first one, and it was terrible. I think we must have done 10 takes
Oh
until
my
I
God,
was
I
like,
remember recording videos with you with the bloopers we'll never show the world because it was so funny.
I have to tell you what happened today. I actually recorded with Cody, one of my other virtual assistants, to put on my business page here and to put on LinkedIn during the week. And the dog started barking at one point, and I flubbed up my words. And I said to him when we stopped recording, I said, this is going to be really good for a bloopers reel. So you might want to save it someday. He's like, oh, that's a good idea. We'll do outtakes. So the video we did the other day, I'm still watching. When you say it's up to 500, yeah, no, ooh, we might have to show them to you privately, Darcy.
Yeah, we'll show them to you privately because there's a lot of cursing.
It's definitely, I don't even know if we could cut out. It was, let me tell you, it was really funny because, wait, what was I doing? I would like start out and go,
we
go
Sorry,
ahead.
continue. I was just gonna say we've learned that Nancy doesn't do scripts.
I don't do
So
scripts.
you would have to see. I was behind the camera with with like the 5 different giant sheets, each with like 2 words on them, and I would like flip and then flip and then flip and then flip again, and then it would be like, and we couldn't get it. Finally, I was just like, you know what? Nancy cannot do scripts.
No, and honestly, anytime someone says read a script, and there's even these sites that are for free that you can type in your script and you can make the speed to the way you speak. I still was flubbing them up. When I did my first interview series, it was like I had taped notes everywhere, and I'm looking all over the place. I mean, even recently I taped for that Up Viral campaign. The first video that I came out with was a script, and I thought, okay, that is terrible. It was out for one day. I'm like, screw the script, just tell me what to say. And honestly, I'm the same way with when I just speaking engagements, right? And when I'm in front of an audience, if I'm trying to stick to a script, I'm like boring. I'm a disaster. I trip over my own words. I sweat and I get nauseous. But if I
Well,
can
you
just
know,
talk
this
off
is
the
a
top of
good,
my head, I'm so
yeah,
much better.
but this is a good point. It's like you had to like mess up in order to figure out how you work best.
This is true. It's true. I realize that I am not a scripted person, right? When Cody said I want to film some videos and he said I'll write you a script, I was like, no, whatever you do, do not write me a script because it'll be horrible if you do that. So what I did instead is I just write down a topic. I mean, here's the bottom line, and you're the same way, Caden, and anyone who's listening or re-listening to this, you know your shit.
It's true.
Right? So if you're talking about topics that you really know well, you can go off the top of your head a lot easier. If you're trying to be somebody you're not, is when the anxiety, builds up and overflows into all kinds of flubs. I mean, they're funny, but I mean, I even remember when I spoke at your cousin's bar mitzvah.
Bar mitzvah.
Right? Mm-hmm. It was scripted. Your father didn't, feel like he wanted to do it. I said, "Oh, I'll do it. No problem. I'm always speaking in front of people." And it was scripted. By the time I got down off of the altar, I hope that's what they call it, and I had the worst stomach ache. I felt like I was going to pass out because I had to read something
right
that was meaningful, right? Instead of just talking off the top of my head. So yeah, so the point of all this is knowing yourself. Okay, bye, Darcy. But
we'll
come
miss
back.
You, Darcy.
We will miss you. But like Darcy's actually doing it with her Friday favorites. She has a noon show, and she's not scripted. She just talks about the things that she loves as an interior designer, and it's coming across so authentic. She's getting views. I believe she got a client the other day, or a potential client called her from Facebook, which is why it's so important, which is why we're having this conversation really, is because some people call it being visible, being seen, putting yourself out there authentically for your expertise is really key for someone to have that, I know you, I like you, and I want to hire you factor whenever they are ready for whatever you can do for them.
Right.
So tip number 1, do it. Some people, for me, I have to do something 3 times before I'm like, that's actually not so bad. For some people,
3 times is very little. I think to make a habit, what is it, 21 days?
It's not a habit, but we're not talking about a habit. We're talking about a fear.
True.
So it is different when you're talking about a fear. You want to, for me, if I do something 3 times, I'm a complete wreck the first time. I'm slightly less the next time. The third time, I'm still very nervous. And then after that, it becomes, oh, who really cares? I'm just going to go do it. And once in a while, I still, even some weekend wind downs, I'm like, I have no idea what I'm going to talk about. And I'll get like a little nervous. But in the end, if I just turn that camera on and I start talking about my week and talk about what I've learned, what I've read, what I've watched, what I've listened to, and about my clients, I always have so much to talk about, which we always know.
Yeah.
So you need to do the same thing. You need to just start, even if it's a minute or 30 seconds. Every day, do 30 seconds. Here's my 1 tip of the day. Boom.
Yeah.
Right? And one day, when you're giving your 1 tip of the day, you might actually riff for a little longer because your mind went into kind of a mode of, I have more to say about this.
Yeah. So I'm going to have a drink at that thought.
Okay, I'll join you. So yeah, we don't have as many viewers. Can somebody tell me who's there? I know Darcy might be still there. Give us a hi that you can see us, because this is the first time I'm doing it on my business page, and I want to see what the reach is. And now we're down to 2 because I said that. So I'm going to have a drink. So was that helpful? Just getting it's kind of like just doing it even 30 seconds a day?
Yeah, probably.
Oh, that's not convincing.
Yeah, no, I'm not going to do it.
But that would, you're already getting a ton of clients coming to you. Tell everybody what you do so that when they're rewatching, they know.
So I help online coaches and consultants reach their target audience using funnels, whether they're doing product launches or selling their services. I'm the guy you come to when you have something that you need to get in front of people and you want to make money. Did that make sense?
Yes, but you didn't explain what a funnel was. Funnel in English is?
I always struggle with explaining it, but so like, let's say you have a website, and I always explain it like a website is something that people will bounce around on, and there's no clear direction. Like they can go here, there, there, there. A funnel has one entry point. So it's kind of like taking your client on a guided tour through the experience you want them to have. So there's one entry point, and there are steps along the way that you want them to take. So it's different from like the function of a website because
Sorry,
like a funnel cake.
sorry, I just have to put that up there. Like a funnel cake. Take one bite and then keep going.
And then just keep going. But was that a good explanation?
Yes and no. It has to be something really simple. It's the first step into, let's say, grabbing something you're giving away for free, and then what experience do they have after that? Do they get a series of letters from you that that tell them about you, and then you make another offer to them to maybe purchase something low cost or get on the phone with you? And then after they get on the phone with you, what is their experience after that? So a funnel, right? Like if you're pouring oil into your car, right? Oil, is that what it is? Because you know I don't do cars. But so the funnel, just like if you're pouring into a gas cap, the top of the funnel is all the people who haven't chosen to get anything from you yet. And then you're trying to get them into your funnel by maybe opting in for something you give away for free, or going into your group, like my group, Actionable Entrepreneurs. And then from there, I'm just giving content and content. And at some point I might say, hey, I have a new group opening. If anyone's interested, hop on the phone with you, hop on the phone with me. So that's one type of funnel. What Caden does is much more detailed, sometimes, right? Complicated funnels. So of how you can get them to go from a free opt-in to some information to possibly a purchase to an upsell, maybe a downsell, and it gets kind of crazy, guys. It's complicated.
I make giant flow charts of funnels I want to build, and I propose them to clients, and usually they see the value in that. So really, to ask me to explain it in simple terms is very difficult for me. You know that.
It is, and we're still going to work on that. But being seen, the point of this is that being seen is really important to every entrepreneur in this day and age, because even more than ever, people want to hire people they trust. They no longer just open the yellow pages and point and call and say, can you come? They get recommendations. They've seen them on Facebook. They follow them on Instagram. They're reading the articles or the blogs they're writing on LinkedIn or all these other places. They've met them in person. So there's so many ways to get people to start seeing you. And it's important. I always tell my clients, I want you to join a charitable organization, an industry organization, and live your life and share it, right? I go see music almost every Friday night. I show that because somebody else may go, oh, she likes music. But how do you get past it? I hate to tell you, it's by doing it.
It's kind of like exposure therapy.
It is exposure therapy. I think I talked about this once before, and somebody said they liked this idea. There was a coach I spoke to a long time ago. She really had a fear of video. So what she would do is she would do Facebook Live private to just herself, like right from her console, right? It was a solo Facebook Live, not a duo. So she would do the solo Facebook Live. It would be private, only to be seen by her. And then when the broadcast was over, she would watch it. And if it looked to her satisfaction, she would open it up to her page, to her public. And I thought, well, that's a cool way to get started. And I remember saying that once before, and somebody did think that was a cool way to start.
Yeah,
So
that's definitely a cool way to start. And Darcy, to answer your question, do you create the content of the funnel? Yes, I do a lot of the copywriting, but it is in collaboration with the online coach I'm working with because I need to know who their target audience is, who their client avatar is, because I need to know how to best speak to the people they're trying to reach. So it can't be in my voice. So I do the copywriting on the funnel to answer your question.
yeah, so a really, really simple funnel is when Darcy sends a newsletter or an email to her list. At the bottom, she says, if it's like the old-fashioned "give us a call if you need us," right? That's technically a funnel, right? Because you got them into your email list. Now you're nurturing that relationship, and then your email says, if you need us now, or if you need your kitchen redone, if you need anything in interior design related, give me a call. That's like a very simple funnel.
Oh yeah, everything's a funnel.
Everything is a
Almost
funnel.
everything's a funnel
When it comes to sales
when it
and
comes
getting
to
people to,
sales and marketing.
right, right. Okay, so the other thing we wanted to talk about, unless you want to talk any more about visibility, did we
I think we
cover?
covered a lot. Yeah.
We covered a lot, but part of visibility is, and I love this one. I'm going to show this one. Let's make sure I don't have any spelling errors. This feeling of who cares what I really have to say.
Oh, interesting. What do you mean
Because
by that?
when I first started doing Facebook Lives, when I first started writing to my email list, I just really went, why would anyone care what I had to say? And they already know this stuff, right? So you just sort of poo-poo your knowledge. And I find a lot of entrepreneurs do this. They think their expertise is so embedded in their brain that everybody knows this. It's just not important. Like,
It's so true.
but I mean, when I get an interior designer's email and I read it, I'm like, oh, I didn't know that. I didn't know you could mix those colors, and I didn't know like that those special knobs existed in those beautiful chandeliers. Like, how did they even make them? Like, you think people live in your world, and
It's
they
true.
they don't. So I could take the simplest thing that I teach and say it in 5 different ways over a year's time, and one of those ways may connect with somebody. Don't think everybody has the knowledge that you have, and just write about what you know best, and you'd be
It's
surprised.
it's true, and it also, I mean, it's the same type of thing. It's an insecurity, you know, that most people probably have, and it's also not allowing yourself to feel your own talent, like in a way, because if something comes as easy as breathing to you, like sales does to Nancy, it could be easy to think, well, like, do doesn't it come easy to other people? I mean, that wasn't a good example because you know that it doesn't.
Right.
But um, especially like with what I do, I take for granted that other people even understand the language that I'm using. It's a problem.
Listen, I always say and it's not to insult the world, use fifth grade language when you're communicating with your list.
That's so important in sales and copywriting
So
too.
important. It's so important because it really is what is speaking and writing. And I've talked to people who go, well, I want to come across more sophisticated, but the bottom line is you're going to repel most people who aren't sophisticated, and they may not be as smart as you. They may not have the vocabulary that you have within your industry. And you want to make sure that you are always translating it to a language that the layman can understand, somebody who's not within your industry. And that's
It's
really
true.
hard to do. But it still goes back to I wrote an email. I think it was this morning. I get up so early these days that I can't even remember what day I wrote things. But I wrote an email this morning about how I need to find time to get shoes for the IDS National Conference. And part of me was just like, oh, who's really going to care what I have to say? And then, I talked about being on the radio show and how the dog was barking and I was stuck in the basement trying to get it to work. And I got 3 responses from that.
Relatable content.
Here's a good funnel. I can't put all those words up. Here's a good funnel. Nancy says, what are you doing tonight? I research. I find comedy. Buy tickets for comedy club. Then Nancy is happy. Great personal funnel. But same concept, starting with the ask and what you're looking for and then deliver. And as we laugh and go, are we going to a comedy show tonight? I just told everyone Friday night is music night, Richie.
That's really cute, Richie.
That's very cute. But yeah, so who cares what I have to say? I always think of this, and I've said this before, but I say it every time. I think of one person. Usually I'll think of a client, and I'll say, what was the conversation I had with them? What did I teach them? What are they interested in? What can they relate to? Like any of those types of topics. And I go, okay, I'm just going to write to them. So I would literally write on my draft, and I'll use Darcy because I know she's watching. I'll say, Dear Darcy, right? And then I'll just write to Darcy. Something that I just want to reinforce with her or want to share with her or something I think she can appreciate. And then when I cut and paste it into my mail system, I use Aweber. I'll take out her name and I'll insert someone else's, or I'll just take out the Dear so-and-so completely and I send it. I don't, in the beginning, I used to dwell on, well, what if a lot of people don't relate to that? And when I gave up on that and just started to write to one person and make it very personal, I every time I send out an email now, I get responses. I get either people on my calendar or I get somebody who goes, oh my God, I love shoes. Good luck with finding shoes. Somebody this morning said to me, I loved your email. It was so authentic. And that's all I want is to relate to people. And someday when they need a coach, when they need a business coach, they're struggling, they'll go, you know what? Nancy hit my inbox today and she's been hitting my inbox. And I don't worry about those who unsubscribe because those will never be my clients. So it's okay. Right?
It's true.
I watched the numbers, but I don't dwell on it. But here was an exercise that I did in the beginning. Opened up a Google Doc. You can open up a Word doc. And when somebody gave me that trick of everything you've ever taught a client, just sit down when you're in a creative mode and quiet. And for me, that's always very early in the morning. And just start typing out things that you've taught people, tips you've given them, information you've relayed, things that you've taught them, and just create this massive document. And when you get back from a client, you can, if you have time, sit down later that night or right after and type in some more stuff. The questions the client asked you, how you answered them, and next thing you know, you have a ton of content. And this works for interior designers who I know are, primarily the people who watch me, because that's the world I've always been in. It works because if you think about when you're walking around their house, what are their concerns? What are they asking you? And you dump that all into a Word document. It's going to give you a ton of content to write to them in the future, to write to your list. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that's a great tip for sure.
So, yeah, that's all I had on that. Let me see. I made a little agenda. Let me see if I have anything else on my agenda that we didn't cover.
Okay.
No, I wrote one twice because I spelt it wrong. So tell me what you're going to do this week to grow your business. I'm going to put you on the spot.
Me?
Yeah.
I'm going to follow up with a client who initially said no to my first proposal because the follow up in your business is a really important part of sales and is often neglected. So I'm going to do that.
100%. And that's actually
And
another great topic.
I'm also going to like allow myself to take breaks, which is,
What do you
I
mean?
know, crazy, right? But I'm going to allow myself to like enjoy a weekend without stressing about my business, which thank you, Darcy. It is hard when, because I am naturally a little bit of a workaholic as well as Nancy. But you know, self-care is important, and I'm just starting to realize that. I know I am realizing it a bit late, but it's important.
It really is important. I mean, you have a tough act to follow because I am a workaholic, and because I love what I do, and but I've always loved what I do. Hi, John. Yeah, John, I'm going business page. It's going to affect my viewership, but I'm going to keep it going, and eventually people will find me, which is fine. Um, I showed you. Do you remember, Caden? I showed you this video that um, Russell Brunson put out when he was on vacation with his wife.
What was it about?
Well, actually, I might have showed it to Richie. Richie, do you remember me showing you this video? So it was about Russell's like, okay, I'm on vacation. And I'm totally stressed out because
Oh yeah.
vacations make me stressed. I feel like I need to be at my desk and I'm working because that's what I love to do. And that's what gets my energy up. And that's vacation actually suck the energy out of him.
Right.
Right.
And that's definitely you, but I don't know if it's me.
I don't think
So,
it's
and
you.
I don't think it's anybody else. Like, it's very rare that that people don't need breaks.
Well, I take breaks. I sit on my baby bear chair. I have a little recliner that fits just my little body. Well, it's not so little, but it's short. And I relax at the end of a night, or I
You keep
will.
yawning.
Am I boring you?
I
Um,
was exhausted.
so I do take breaks. I just don't take them at normal hours. But I do love vacation. I do love to travel. Richie and I love to travel, but I am still attached even when I'm traveling. So because I like it that way, and I know a lot. I actually do know when your creative juices. When does your adrenaline get its highest? Well, you're different. For you, it's when you jump out of a plane. So that's like not normal.
I knew, yeah. Um, well, I don't have an answer to that.
When you build a great ClickFunnels funnel for somebody, don't you feel good?
Yeah, of course I do.
So that's like me when I'm working with a client and they have a success, nothing makes me higher. It's crazy.
Yeah.
So that's why, and I know designers, if they don't tap into their creativity on a regular basis and they're just working on their business and they're not feeding the creative side, they just lose all motivation and they lose all umph. And it's to get it back. It's like go to an expo. Oh my God, what is this yawning? I'm just.
You, you didn't tell me I was going to be on for an hour.
I know. Okay,
um,
we will end early today because King's yawning in my face, and that's
I'm
not fun.
exhausted.
You know what? You didn't sleep well last night. Yeah. So, so anyway, so we talked about what did we talk about today? How do you get over the fear of being seen? How do you
Know
create?
that people care what you want to say.
Right, know that people actually do care. I mean, I've proven it. I went from really I have nothing to say that anyone wants to hear to not that this broadcast has proven it, but to being seen. more often. Our broadcast the other day when we were really stupid got like 500 views.
Mm-hmm.
And how just being yourself, oh my God, I'm really done with you. I'm putting you out of the broadcast. Say goodbye.
Goodbye, everyone.
Okay, so Caden is absolutely exhausted. So we knocked him out of the broadcast because if he yawns in my face one more time, I might kill him because that's when the mommy in me kicks in. But anyway, when you're trying to get over being seen, it's just a matter of just, you really do have to do it. Start out with 30 seconds. Make your mistakes. John, if you're still watching, John knows it's hard, right? Sometimes things don't happen the way you expect them to. And then other times they exceed your expectations. When I first did my Facebook Lives, I had one person watching. The next time I had two people watching. And obviously now I'm going to have to build it the same way now that I'm on my business page. But that's okay. As John said, build it and they will come. The other thing we talked about is creating content that people actually want to hear and see. And the best way to do that is, what are your clients coming in and asking you for? If you create a one big giant Google document of everything, or Word document of everything you've ever helped somebody with. They asked me this is what I said. They asked me this is what I said. This is what they didn't understand. This is what I explained. You will create a huge document of content that will be key to you communicating with your community, with your ideal client from that point forward. So I hope that was helpful today. I'm actually going to cut out early today because apparently I'm going to a comedy show, according to Richie. And yes, as Darcy said, it is so important to unplug. And contrary to what people think about me, I do unplug sometimes. And if I am, for personality like me, if I unplug for too long, I actually start to get like, I don't know, more like depressed than enthused and energetic. So what energizes me is helping people grow their businesses, having my clients have successes. For if you're an interior designer, what drives you is that creative process of creating a beautiful space for someone, and nothing makes you higher than them, seeing it come together and them being happy with you. So for everybody, it's different. What drives your energy? Make sure you get enough of it, and then yes, make sure you do unplug and have some fun and get out, be visible, and share it with the world, because people want to know who you are, not just what you do. And that is really, really key. So I'm going to say goodbye for now for Weekend Wind Down. We'll remind people that I'm on my business page now, and hopefully they'll watch on replay. Cheers, everyone. Have a great weekend, and I'll see you next Friday. Okay. Bye, guys.